Some Native American reservations are really sad. Like the place I visited in South Dakota called Rosebud. People are squished into trailers here, and they are not nice trailers. A lot of the people who live here have burned down their own homes while trying to cook meth. Almost everybody here lives in poverty, and the life expectancy is about 50 years old. And then there's this. This is the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, about an hour east of Los Angeles. People here live in opulent mansions overlooking the valley. They oversee some of the best undeveloped land in Southern California. My God. It was my second to last day on a California homecoming trip I took back in October. I was driving around the valley getting footage for another video, and I looked up at the hillside. Look at those mansions, I thought. A lot of that's new. I figured I had just seen the poorest reservation in the country, and now I'm seeing this extravagance hovering over my hometown. How do they live like kings and queens? Because of this.
The simple act of opening a door. It doesn't seem like much, but it's momentous. You see, by opening this door and this one and this one, we're taking the first step together.
Looks pretty fancy, huh? This place sure has come a long way. I remember when San Manuel Indian Bingo opened up back in 1985. Back then, things weren't going too well for the people on this reservation. Their ancestors were the Serrano people who had lived peacefully in this area for a long time, almost kind of squatting in terrible conditions along the hillsides above the San Bernardino Valley. They had been doing so since the reservation was established in 1891. But very soon after they opened up their big fancy bingo hall, the money started coming in. All that extra scratch changed the lives of all these tribal members. I remember the transition well. People I knew in high school who lived up here suddenly started driving expensive cars and throwing money around. Then, San Manuel hired professionals to come in and help them grow. It added a casino 20 years later in 2005, and things got even better. That made a lot of money, and now you have this. Today they have a fancy hotel that charges $800 most nights. Look at that pool view. And the casino is just massive now with all the restaurants and bars and nightly performances. You really do feel like you're in Las Vegas here, I have to say. But the biggest change has been the reservation itself. This all looks like the fanciest gated community anywhere in Southern California. All of this is way different than the third world conditions I saw in South Dakota. The reservation has these huge mansions and a fire department and infrastructure. Sure has changed a lot. Get this. The average family in San Manuel makes $387,000 a year. Yeah, no shit. That's according to the U.S. Census, which makes me think they make a lot more than that. But what's also interesting is 88% of the kids live in poverty, but only 17% of the old people live in poverty. So I guess they start to rack up the dough when they're born and it just adds up? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure none of these people have a day job. I think when they first began building these mansions, they didn't know how to manage their money. A buddy of mine was a pizza delivery driver back then. He told me how he delivered pizza to these big giant houses up here in the hillsides, stuff we had never seen before. He said a lot of these homes had 10 or 12 people living in them, but a lot of the houses didn't have windows, some didn't have floors yet. They'd all just be sitting on these big couches, watching big screen TVs that were sitting in the dirt. I remember coming up here and playing bingo before it got all cuckoo up here. It was easy in, easy out, laid back and kind of fun. The casino now is not laid back. It is far from that. Look, you can win a BMW. They get big acts like the Jonas Brothers. Oh my God. There's Alice Cooper, Alanis, Ice Cube, Duran Duran, Alyssa Sklerlisner, whoever that is. Keith Sweat. Dang.
Did you know San Manuel makes $245,000 every day?
What? That's like $90 million a year, Mappy. No wonder these houses are so big.
Every time you pull a slot machine, you're making someone's house here bigger.
No one knows how much these homes are worth because there's no data on them. Well, I mean, some people know, but I don't know. 90 million a year is a lot of money. For perspective, a Las Vegas casino brings in about 8 times that. But by the way they're expanding this place, I think they might get close. I asked for permission to drive around here and for some insight from the PR people at San Manuel, but of course they ignored me. I don't think they want me driving around behind their gates. So I just hired somebody to fly a drone overhead. It's way better anyway. But with all this expansion comes headaches for some. The traffic in this part of town is just maddening now. When the casino opened up, neighbors in the city of Highland had to deal with troublemakers wandering around. I mean, look, the place is right up against these neighborhoods. There's schools really close by. So there's definitely more crime in the area because of the craziness going on up here. A lot of the homeless people I talked to in town said the casino has brought in gambling addicts who have been forced onto the streets. I also hear that casino leaders involved in local politics strong-arm people who cross them. I haven't experienced that myself. I hear there's also lots of suffering and drug and alcohol abuse going on up here. I think the youth here have too much money for their own good. But if you were to ask someone in town about San Manuel, you'll get mixed opinions. On one hand, they've brought in a lot of jobs, and the place donates a ton of dough to the community, like millions for roads and improvements all over the area. Here's one example. San Manuel put in a fancy jumbotron at my old high school football field. That's nice of them. We can definitely thank these people for being so generous, because without them, it would be even worse in San Bernardino, and I don't know if I can even imagine that. It's not just within the reservation where the wealth is located. All over the north end of town, there's signs of casino money. A lot of these hillsides outside of the reservation are now being developed with property that smells like blackjack chips. And they just purchased the Arrowhead Springs Hotel. What the hell? It's really odd to see their choppers flying around the local mountains all day. I don't know if that's their security or what, but 40 years ago, these people were living in dirt, and now they're the big eye in the sky in these hillsides. Feels very creepy to me. Across the country, there are 325 American Indian reservations and 575 federally recognized tribes. There are 511 casinos on Native American land. 1 in 3 Native Americans live in poverty. That's 3 times higher than the national average. Whenever there's money, there's going to be corruption and influence. Out here in California, they tried to pass Prop 27, and that would have legalized sports betting online. Well, this place didn't want that, so they funneled money into Prop 26, which would legalize sports betting, but only at their casinos. They both failed. And just think, back in 1851, California's first governor said he wanted to make Native Americans extinct. Yeah, he said that. It's right here. They offered $5 for scalps. Even Ulysses S. Grant came to California to fight with the Indians. You could even buy and sell Indians as slaves in California up until the mid-1850s. I know. It's tragic. And after all the killing ended, they were all divided up into reservations, just like this one. Remember Rosebud, the Native American reservation I showed you earlier in South Dakota? They have a casino too, but it's not very nice. It's kind of sad, actually. I was told they're missing the leadership and professional advice to get things turned around over here. They don't have a bright future to look forward to unless they can find a way to monetize their situation. I guess compared to that, the people up here in San Manuel have a pretty good life then. Good for them. They deserve it. After being treated so poorly for so long, they should consider themselves lucky, I guess. And their success today is now directly tied into you feeling lucky yourself. Are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family should be. I do it all the time. Together, let's find you a new home that's safe and checks all your boxes. And I can also help you find your new house too. Email me and I'll work with you on not just helping you figure out where to move, but I can help you find your perfect home too. That's right. I know awesome, reliable agents all over the country, and I'd love to connect you to somebody who can help you search for that perfect home. Hey guys, if you learned something new about America or what it's like to live in America, great. You should think about subscribing and turning on your notifications. You can also click one of these videos or playlists for more.
This is Sage, Nick's manager. This has been a Corner House Entertainment production.